What's going on, folks? Ted from Immersion here, and if you missed it, I have all the Spelljammer books early for my review purposes, and the Hadozee race provides us with a very weird interaction with the way its ability works. So as you can see, they sort of have these attachments, almost like a flying squirrel from arm to leg that allows them to glide. And you probably can't read it, but right here is a glide ability, and it says you can move up to 5 feet horizontally for every 1 foot you descend in the air at no movement cost to you. Now, the reason that that's interesting is because it states at no movement cost. Typically, anything that forces you to move, with the exception of literally someone pushing you in Dungeons and Dragons, uses your movement. If you can jump 60 feet across, but your movement speed is only 30 feet, you can only jump 30 feet. Now, this says it doesn't cost any movement. So as long as you're descending 1 foot, you can go 5 feet at no movement cost. Now, we know, now this again provides all sorts of shenanigans for even just like jumping up in the air from a standing position, as long as you have a high enough jump speed that you can then move horizontally, again, for free with no movement cost. But we know from Xanathar's Guide to Everything that when you find yourself in the air, you immediately plummet 500 feet, which is how fast, it's like, so if you fall off something in the sky, you drop 500 feet and impact the ground. Here's the thing. If you were 500 feet up in the air and you fell or jumped off of a 500-foot tall cliff, instead of falling 500 feet immediately to the ground, you would fly 2,500 feet left to right, now assuming you could make that movement. But if you could do that, you could, in theory, travel 2,500 feet across, possibly with no damage. The way gliding and falling impacts isn't really discussed anywhere. But again, Hadozee have the ability to, as a reaction, negate all falling damage. But that 2,500 feet of vertical movement, of horizontal movement that you would make doesn't use your movement at all. So then, in theory, if you were on your turn and you took 5-foot step and jumped off of a cliff, you used 5 feet of your movement, flew 2,500 feet across, and then when you land and touch down, you still have the remainder of your walking speed and your entire action and bonus action up to you. So what I think is probably the most interesting is how much time that takes in the 6-second span. Because if the D&D isn't broken down that way, but the speed of sound is roughly 1,100 feet per second. So in theory, if your gliding ability, because remember, you could do all that glide, touchdown, walk around, cast a spell, make an attack, do whatever before your turn is over. So if that glide happens in around 1 second's worth of time, you could, in theory, glide at a speed of Mach 2. Again, Mach 2 being around 2,200 or so, maybe 2,400 feet per second. And we know in the span of 6 seconds, you can glide 2,500 feet, not including whatever movement you have, not including possibly your ability to dash as a bonus action. Things like haste make really nutty numbers. So yeah, in theory, as this ape creature, this Hadozee race, this timid mammal creature, you could, in theory, glide at a speed of Mach 2 and then still go about and do the rest of your turn. Let me know what you think in the comments.